Sarah Grace is great. Seriously, she's great. That's kind of like sums it up for me. She's great, okay? And aside from that, she is a powerful and dynamic individual who spent over a decade merging her career as a paramedic in some of California's busiest 911 systems with her innate gifts as a medical, intuitive, and clairvoyant healer. Did you hear that? Okay. All right. Combining Western and energy medicine, Sarah spent years studying both physical and energy anatomy while applying her skills in a critical setting to thousands of patients as they dealt with life and death emergencies. Sarah is now a sought-after author.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, indeed. Speaker and healer who bridges Western medicine with holistic healing. And it is my great honor and privilege to introduce a very dear friend, Sarah Grace.
Hi.
And her Sacramento Soul Talk is Trauma to Triumph. Sarah Grace.
Thank you. Just move this over here. Hey, everybody. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to do a brief intro. He just did a really wonderful introduction. I'm going to fill you in on what's happened for me over the year, because we've got some big exciting things developing. And then we're going to talk briefly about the Trauma to Triumph and hand you very specific tools. Because coming into 2020, we're all wanting to manifest our greatest vision, right? Our greatest version of ourselves. And my experience is the bigger the vision, the bigger the will, the bigger the drive, the bigger the leap of faith and possibility for energetic chaos. Let's just put it that way. And because as we're stretching into our fullest expansion and power, we're going to likely be tested by not only our source or spirit or whatever you'd like to call it, but by our own internal dialogue and subconscious processes, right? So we'll talk a bit about that. And then we'll do a brief break, and I'm going to do a actual pineal activation for you guys to start to, we'll do some group energy work to activate whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve or experience in 2020, okay? So yeah, licensed paramedics, 18 years now. What, right? What? 15 years on the street, started in Compton, Inglewood for 2 years, San Jose for about 1.5 years, and then Sac, Yellow Placer areas up here, 911 the entire time. So it was intense, and as JG mentioned, I've been highly clairvoyant and empathic since I was a little kid. See, hear, feel energy outside of the normal senses. Was raised in a small town in South Dakota, pre-internet, no access to the outside world. My family was very conservative, and so when I start talking about seeing colors and dead people, they're like, hellfire and brimstone, don't ever talk about that, right? Shoved it down for a long time. Wasn't until I became the paramedic that the energy started working through me on the calls, and I essentially became a midwife into death for countless individuals. So after doing that for a long time, I was like, okay, well, obviously this isn't going away. What is this? So I studied Reiki, shamanism, medical intuition, and mediumship. I wrote my first book, Journey into Grace, Tales of a Psychic Paramedic, which is actually well on its way to becoming a movie now. It's just in the last 2 months, it's gotten into the hands of some of Hollywood's biggest producers, and believe it or not, Liam Neeson has my book. Yeah, I don't think he'll probably play me. But it's a good suggestion. And so that's another thing I'm going to invite you into in 2020 is belief in self and the belief in your own highest vision, because I'm a self-published author. I don't have an agent or a manager, and so it's nothing short of sheer divine intervention that the book is maneuvered into that position. So I'm just kind of partying and celebrating that that's over there, and whatever happens with that, I am grateful for. And my second book is coming out in March, and that is holistic PTSD recovery for first responders, military, and their families. And what we're doing is blending Western and holistic curriculum to give these guys, we got like 35 suicides a day, right, between first responders and military every day. And so what we're doing is providing very grounded, practical, holistic tools in a way that they can hear, because first responders are kind of like alpha dog macho dudes, you know, and they're not necessarily open to more of the holistic. So we're phrasing it and I'm talking in a way that they can hear. So the last thing I'll say about that is we're developing a supplement line, and I've got both Journey into Grace back there, and I also have some of the supplements. There's a CBD product back there that's the best on the market, and an empath herbal super blend, which is going to help you ground and calm, because most all of us in here are sensitive little creatures, aren't we? Right. So thank you for allowing me to kind of catch you up on my year. With trauma into triumph, stretching into, it takes a lot of courage to, number one, admit what we want, because there can be kind of a vulnerability too, right? The admission of like, wow, I have a dream and my dream is X. A lot of time what comes in for us is, well, who am I to have that, right? And we'll bring in all kinds of, whether it be fear or baggage or other people's projections, and we'll kind of hold on to that to varying degrees. Well, I don't know about you guys, 2019 has been a disruptive year. You know, it's a lot of chaos, a lot shaken up, right? Which in the higher picture I'm learning is great, because it's almost like a slingshot. So we're being kind of broken up. There's a lot of people that are going through chaos and transition in a lot of ways. And looking at 2020, what I'm looking at it as now is the clear vision. Clear vision, we have 2020. So when we are allowing ourselves to not only connect to our dream, and I'm going to invite you in the energetic activation to connect, as Bree so beautifully had us do, to your dream and your vision, and then what we're actually going to do together is we're going to activate it and help it kind of go up and out together, okay? But what I've learned is sometimes it's like we just get our butts kicked by the universe, and it doesn't feel very good, right? I mean, straight up. And when we're trying in life, we're busy, we're exhausted, we've got a million different things to do, we're trying to be good people, we're trying to show up for ourselves and everybody else, right? And then we're being courageous to step into what it is we think we want, or what our dream is. And we may have a trauma happen to us. And there are many varying degrees of trauma, right? Sometimes it's just like small or moderate, and then there's some very severe ones. So what I'd like to do is, I'm pulling these from my own personal toolbox, because I like playing with really big energies, and that comes, like, sometimes you can get burned pretty bad. And at the same time, that's just kind of how I roll. So with that, I've learned a lot of really applicable tools that I'd like to share with you guys, okay? So moving forward into 2020, keeping the vision, and then dealing with our own personal trauma, one of the first things to do, so let's just say, here you go, you're being brave, right? Here we go, and you're gonna step towards your vision, step towards your dream, and all of a sudden you get sideswiped. Something happens, there's a trauma, there's a tragedy, there's something, you know, where we feel like we get the rug knocked out or pulled out from under us. Everybody know that feeling? Not super fun, right? I don't know about you guys, I go through this like vapor lock void space where everything gets like slow-mo, like Matrix, and all I can hear is my breath. And then comes the stress hormones, and the nervous system kicks in, and the mind kicks in, and the body goes crazy, and the mind's trying to figure out what's going on and why, right? So in that moment, the first thing that I'm going to offer that's really important is just to reach out to somebody or anybody. It doesn't have to be in person, but going through, and even if it's, it doesn't have to be a major trauma. It can just be something that's, you know, not so fun to deal with. That intricate connection, look at what we're co-creating here together, right? Today, you can feel it, right? And we're so much stronger together because there's the synergy that potentiates that connection and that energy. And so we tend to also make it worse for ourselves in our head when we're by ourselves, right? So I'm going to offer, coming into 2020, when you're dealing with things that are really uncomfortable, step one, in whatever way is comfortable for you, right? Reach out to make some sort of connection with some individual that can just be there with you in that moment. Step two is we definitely want to caretake the body, the physical body. And sometimes we get so, our world gets so rocked that it's hard to function, it's hard to eat, it's hard to sleep, right? It's hard to hydrate. But those are going to be three of the key things for sure, like just taking in whatever grounding foods, nutrient foods you can deal with or you can take in is going to be important. The hydration piece is important. The sleep piece is important. And if that's challenging for you, there are things like the melatonin, coming from the holistic vantage point, the melatonin, the sleepy time tea, the CBDs, those types of things. And the next step would be caretaking your nervous system. And so you know that probably, but anybody here had one of those like whiplash experiences in life where it's like it was such a shock to the system that you felt like you were being electrocuted? Not fun, right? And most all of us in here, empaths, sensitives, people who have that compassionate aspect, and sometimes it can be even more intense for people like us, right? So grounding techniques, learning how to manage your own energy field and ground your energy down into Gaia, or Mother Earth, hence the bare feet, helps me when I'm speaking to continue to run the cord down, right? Learning to ground your energy in that way is going to help to stabilize the nervous system, diminish the excess electrical input on the cranial nerves, and just bring the whole thing down, okay? And again, the products like ashwagandha and CBD and things like that are going to be really good for the nervous system, okay? And let me just check in here what else I want to say about, because I like giving people tools. That's what I was going to say. Thank you. I knew it was there. I was like, I don't prepare for talks, I just talk. It's going to be there. So we're talking some mechanics here, right? And I'm just going to sprinkle some seeds. You take whatever resonates for you and let go whatever doesn't, okay? I also look at, whenever we go through challenges, I also like to look at like, what's right about this that I'm not seeing, okay? So after the rug gets pulled out from under us and we go down through our tumble and we question everything about who we are or what we think we know. Can I even do this? I don't want to do this anymore. All the stuff that we face as humans, right? Eventually we'll come up out of that. And once we stabilize, especially when we have the help of friends, right? And we start to reconnect and we start to get our breath back. One of the ways that I like to integrate traumas like this and destabilizations like this is going to be asking that question. What's right about this that I'm not seeing, right? What is the gift in this death rebirth experience, okay? Another really good one is, what behaviors, choices, and actions have I contributed to co-create this experience, right? And what we're doing in that, and you take your time, right? This can be weeks or months after the fact, depending on the severity of what you're dealing with, right? But when we turn the lens back towards ourself, this is how I like to kind of play with it. We turn the lens back towards ourself, and then it keeps the power here within us, right? And looking at personal responsibility, looking at the willingness to change and grow, looking at the willingness to surrender, which is a key piece of integrating trauma as well, right? And looking at, okay, not to beat ourselves up, because we're all human doing the best we can. We all mess up all the time, and we're all rock stars, like especially that guy. What was that? That was amazing. And so looking at the willingness to turn the lens back on ourselves and do some introspection can really help to clear the pathway, especially when we're coming into 2020 looking for what is your biggest expression, right? Like, what is your biggest dream? How do you want to express that, okay? I'm living proof, you guys. I'm a girl from South Dakota. I mean, come on, right? I self-published a book, right? And this is all happening because it's meant to and because I take daily, consistent action towards, right? And I continue to bring the vantage point back to myself. How could I do better? How can I appreciate where I'm at and everything that's already happened, right? And then being willing to continually surrender the attachment to the dream and the outcome, right? And then showing up every single day in a different way. To me, it's not about being perfect. It's not about being hyper-spiritual or any certain way. It's the authenticity to be fully expressed you, right? Fully expressed human coming into 2020, allowing yourself the courage to say, I have a dream and I deserve. I'm worthy. How about that? Worthy's a little bit better of a word, I think. I'm worthy of living the life that I ultimately desire, okay? And every level that you go, my experience is this just keeps going. There's always more lessons, right? So just don't race, you know? You don't need to be like, yeah, I'm going to knock them all out, and then I'm going to be good, because I'll just be like, I'm telling you from personal experience, not that. And the lessons keep getting more intense the bigger the energy, and I'm like, whoa, what did I do? What did I get myself into here? But at the same time, right? I mean, right? At some point, you got to just think it's just all a cosmic joke and we're having this experience and just kind of enjoy the day, right? Also. Perfect. Thank you. So with that, just the recaps on the self-care, the recaps, really, I'd like you to focus on believing in yourselves in 2020, allowing yourselves, again, that courage, okay, to claim your dream. Understand that there's going to be self-doubt. Understand there's going to be traumas. Understand all of that. But allow yourself to connect to that voice within you that says, yes, I can. Okay? And it might be small initially. But the more we connect to that, the more we allow that to come forth, the bigger and bigger and bigger it gets. And so my hope for you, all of you in 2020, is that you can take the highs and the lows and the good and the bad, and you stay focused every single day on your vision, and you trust in the process of yourself, and you be willing to surrender completely to how it's going to come about. Okay. Yeah, are we doing 5 minutes? Or are we doing activation straight now? Oh, am I still on?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm all taking bows. All right, guys. Barefoot's preferable, or socks on the floor is preferable. It's okay if not. We'll still get her done. Everybody in here, give me permission to work on you energetically. I suppose you're here. I mean, yeah.
Did you say barefoot is preferable, or what did you?
Barefoot or socks? So yeah, we just want the endpoint chakra meridians of the feet to connect to the earth. Yeah. So what we're going to do is I'm going to guide you through a brief pineal activation. You don't have to know what that means, okay? And then we're going to do a visualization exercise where we are connecting to the nervous system energy, okay, the cranial nerves. And what we're going to do is start to turn up the gain or the amplitude to that vision directly. Simultaneously, what I'll do is a clearing on every single one of you at the same time. Okay? Everybody down? Yeah. Okay, cool. Go ahead and close down your eyes. Relax your neck, shoulders, back, chest, and arms. Softening your abdomen. Hips, thighs, calves, and finally your hands and your feet. I now invoke the universal life force energies of love to flow into and through these beautiful and divine souls currently incarnated in human form. Thank you, Great Spirit, for our time and space together. May only beings, entities, and frequencies in accordance with our highest and best purpose be allowed to reside with us in this time-space. We are open to any and all grounding, cleansing, clearing, balancing, unification, and insight you wish to share. We thank you in advance, and so it is, Saho. I'm now going to invite you to draw into your awareness that dream or vision that you thought of a bit earlier today. As you hold that vision in your mind, I'm going to invite you now to feel the very center of your brain. A warm sensation, an energetic ball of light, any color of your choosing. Feeling the warmth envelop the pineal, the midbrain. We're slowly going to stretch that energy down the brainstem, the back of the neck, ensuring that the energy stays at the point of origin in the brain and is stretching, elongating, and energizing. Dropping down further to the back side of the heart chakra. Down to the back of the solar plexus. Sacrum, and all the way down to tailbone. Take your time. Once you have this connection pathway established, I'm going to re-invite you to draw that dream or your vision back into your awareness. And from the tailbone, we are going to draw it forward, making a circuit up the front body. Front side of the root chakra, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and we will connect the circuit through the third eye and pineal. Allowing the cleansing, purifying, and activating energy to increase and potentiate the goals, dreams, and desires through the central channel of your energetic system. Once that cycle or circuit is completed, I invite you to run it 2 or 3 more times, whatever pace feels good to you. Every time you get back to the brain, re-engage your vision, your dream. Upon conclusion of your final circuit, let's draw that nourishing, nutrient-rich, dense prana and vitality, expand it out from the central column, from the circuit, and envelop yourself in a cocoon. Allow yourself to be replenished, restored. connecting to your breath. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes, taking whatever time it is that you need to rejoin us. Thank you, Bree. I invite you to ride that energy as long as it feels safe to you. Yay for 2020.